Man, we're about to get really beefy. When I beef with people who are beefy. Roland Martin, number 26 on the beef list. You guys know Roland Martin. He's a troll. He trolls me. He used to work at CNN and maybe MSNBC. He was one of these political pundits, contributors on all of these networks who was there to bring the black voters' opinion to CNN and MSNBC. In recent years, he's been more of an independent journalist, and he's done his own shows for News One. He's one of the Democratic Party bought and paid for voices. He's what we like to affectionately call guys like Roland Martin, Negro Wrangler. His job is to wrangle Negroes to stay on the Democratic plantation and to make sure all of their thoughts are filtered through a Democratic Party point of view. That's his job. And I don't even say that disparagingly. Good work. It pays well, or relatively well, or used to pay relatively well. And it's really what Roland's qualified to do. I'm not sure if he's qualified to do much else. But in recent years, Roland has turned himself into a Jason Whitlock troll. He tweets at me constantly tries to pick a fight with me, constantly wants to engage in disagreement with me. Now, Roland and I weren't always this adversarial. I can remember in 2014, 2015, when I was running the Undefeated out in Los Angeles for ESPN, Roland came by my office. We talked for quite some time. And again, we didn't align, but we got along. It was two guys. I had no animus towards Roland. Seemed, relatively harmless, typical political surrogate for the Democrat Party. No big deal. Now, once I moved over or back to Fox Sports, I was doing Speak for Yourself and making regular appearances on Fox News, including Tucker Carlson. Someone handed Roland, the assignment of, you're a Jason Whitlock troll. It's your job to pick fights with Jason Whitlock and to disagree with Jason Whitlock. And Roland has said, okay, thank you. I will take that check and I'll take that job. And so at some point in 2018, I still found Roland harmless, because he is mostly harmless. And he insisted he wanted to do an interview with me. And so I said, yeah, sure, Roland, I'll do an interview. Had him over I lived on Wilshire Boulevard, on the Wilshire corridor, and had Roland over to my house for his show. I forget what it was called then, maybe Roland Martin Daily or something. Had him over to my house, probably for a 2-hour interview. And in my view, it did not go well. Roland talked over top of me. Roland wasn't interested in having a conversation. Roland was interested in just arguing with me about everything. And I found the conversation very boring, but I was polite. It went on for 2 hours. I gave him a lot of my time. It was pointless to me, stood my ground, but I wanted to be a man of my word and I wanted to be respectful. So I gave Roland what he asked for. Here's just a brief excerpt of Roland Martin and I arguing about police brutality. They started doing less policing.
Yeah, hold up. Wait. So basically, they stopped doing their job. So what they basically were saying was, how dare you
demonize people who don't make a
No. That wasn't demonizing, Jason.
One of the hardest jobs in America.
Jason. So because cops got indicted, then all of a sudden
it's more than indicted, man.
No, it wasn't.
We sit on TV. I'm talking about what's going on with policemen. We sit
Jason.
on TV and act like police are some of the worst people on the planet.
Jason,
and it's just
in the city of Chicago, they withheld the Laquan McDonald tape for 4 years. They did not want the tape released, and then they lied.
Roland, I know you can go to point to
No.
I'm
I'm showing you an example. The cops in Chicago.
I get it. They did something inappropriate. I get it.
Not
The guy went
inappropriate.
to jail,
Not inappropriate. Laquan McDonald is dead, and the cops lied.
The cop went to prison.
And what the cops did was they said, "How dare you indict one of ours? We gonna stop working." They don't want any accountability.
That's most people, Roland.
But these are people who have guns and badges.
I get it, Roland,
who can
but that's
take your
most
life.
people.
Dude.
That is they're human beings, Roland.
I know they're human beings.
Let's say raise their hand,
But guess
beings.
what?
They don't want
There's
accountability.
a level of power that they have that you don't have.
I got it.
And you know what? What comes with that badge and that gun is a high level of accountability. And damn it, they need to be held accountable. And it can't be, oh, you're demonizing. No. For the cops who do good, yo, celebrate them. But the cops who do bad, you damn right go after them and not coddle them. And I'm not going to excuse it as it was a mistake or it was an accident.
Because I've actually dealt with the issue.
Well, when you say
on a
perfection,
very personal life,
but
no profession is preferred.
None is perfect.
So the context of that conversation, this is 2018, and part of my conversation with Roland is like, hey man, this police brutality, because if we're 2018, we're probably talking about Michael Brown and all of it, who knows. Trayvon Martin wasn't killed by police, but he's part of that narrative. And I'm trying to explain to Roland, like, hey man, I'm not speculating about what the ramifications are for police misconduct. A cousin that I helped raise, me and my family believe, was inappropriately killed by police in 2012 in Indianapolis. I helped raise this dude. I paid for the funeral. I know this on a firsthand level. I'm not just some media person trying to use these situations for traction. I understand the pain. I deal with Anton's mother. She's my first cousin. I know the pain that she's experienced. And I know that what you all are doing isn't helping. It's not correcting that situation, how my cousin Anton got in that situation. There's a much more nuanced conversation to be had. Those are the conversations I'm interested in having. Roland is interested in clickbait and controversy and whatever drives the narrative that racism explains everything, and the explanation is much deeper than racism. And so again, you engage with Roland, you get in a very surface level conversation. He's going to do most of the talking. He's going to do virtually none of the listening. And so, but I gave him 2 hours in 2018. People have asked, why don't you engage with Roland again? Because it's a waste of time. I can't have a substantive conversation with him. I just noticed the difference if any of you have watched my engagement with Mark Lamont Hill, someone I disagree with. But I can have a conversation with Mark Lamont Hill. He will actually listen to what is said. He'll respond to what is said. He will then respond back in, whether I agree or disagree, in a more thoughtful way than a Roland Martin. I just don't enjoy that. Roland, and I don't say this to be mean-spirited, but Roland is sassy, man. He argues like a woman. And I just don't have time for it. I don't have an interest in it. I find no enjoyment in it. There's no payoff from talking to a man who talks like a woman, whose logic works like a woman, and who's led by their emotions and are just trying to trigger someone. And so if Roland ever wonders why I don't respond to him, why I muted him on Twitter months ago, why when Patrick Bet-David tried to arrange some Negro wrestling match between Roland Martin and me for Patrick Bet-David's benefit, why I had no interest in that. Roland basically is trans, and I'm not wrestling with a trans person. If I want to argue with a woman, I'll find a woman to argue with. There's plenty of them. My sister loves to argue with me. So does my mother. Plenty of women love to argue with me. I don't need to do it with Roland Martin. And I know that sounds very disrespectful, and I'm really not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just being authentic. Roland put on a t-shirt and put himself out there, vote like a black woman. He's telling you everything you need to know. He thinks like one, he twerks like one, he believes like one. He doesn't believe in male leadership, headship. He doesn't believe in a manly way of thinking and approaching life. I don't have time for it. If I want to argue with a woman, call my mother. Roland Martin, number 26 on the beef list.